Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sim Racing Bible. Hope you're doing well. This week we are coming to you from Automobilista 2, and this time with sound. Hopefully you can all hear me. Last week was a bit of a disaster starting off, but this week hopefully sound is working correctly. We're in Automobilista 2, and there's a very good reason for that. The highly anticipated version 1.4 is now live, so we get to test it out. We get to try some new cars, some new tracks, some new features, and the extensive update list is just mind-boggling. There's so much that's changed in this new update, and to be honest, it would take so long just to work through them all. It's just, we'll be here all night. So I think probably the best thing to do is get in, cover the main highlights, and we'll cover some of the other bits and pieces as we go. But super excited for this. This is going to be a really fun evening, testing out some brand new stuff, and just seeing whether the new 1.4 update is actually a game changer. And that's what it's been touted as being, so strong words, let's see if they're true. So let's get ourselves into the sim now then. And here we go. First of all, we've got some interesting stuff to look at. We're going to work our way through. I'll show you all the things which I've managed to pick out from the from the updates as we go. So, of course, the main elephant in the room, as you can see on the screen here, is we have oval racing now in Automobilista 2. And this is going to be really, really interesting to find out how this goes, because it's a new discipline for the sim itself, and it's not something which is easy to implement straight away. You've got a lot of dynamics in oval racing, some things which are kind of unique to the way that oval racing works in terms of things like full course yellows and just general pack racing with cars all over the place. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all works. So what we have access, basically. They've given us access to the Racing USA Part 3 DLC pack for free as a trial until it's released later on, which means we get a couple of new ovals. So we have, as you can see here, I'll go through on the tracks. So we've got I'll start here. We've got the Fontana Speedway, so we have the full oval as well as the infield sports car course as well, which is quite twisty and technical actually in there. That's going to be quite a tricky one to learn straight away. But we also have, just a little bit lower, Gateway, or Worldwide Technology Raceway, I think it's called. This one's a very different style of oval. It's a larger radius on one end than on the other. So yeah, this is going to be interesting just to see how that one drives. And obviously we've got a couple of road course versions for that as well. But also, they've unlocked the full oval at Daytona as well, which is something we didn't have before. We just simply had the sports car versions of those. So 3 different ovals to try. But of course, you need an oval racing car for that, don't you? So we have, of course, already the Formula USA Champ Car based cars. But now they actually have track-specific versions of these cars. So when you load into an oval, it will automatically load the low downforce oval setup for the car, and not just in terms of vehicle setup. It's also got the low downforce wings on the front and the rear as well. So it's a completely different car when it gets to the world of oval racing. So that's one of the main points for the update. But it doesn't end there. There are other things which I need to show you in terms of cars and updates. So if we go to the Copa Classic B class, there's an addition in here. We have a Mini, which I believe is running slicks. So not like the regular Touring Classics one, which is on cross-ply tyres. This one has slicks, so I suspect this is going to be rather rapid on track. So we've got that to try out. We have a bit further down, let's have a look through what else was there. So we have a change in design for the GT Open class, and there's a good reason for that, because we have a new car in there as well. We have the Ginetta G55 GT3, which is against the Ultima, which we already had anyway. So we've got a new playmate there in the GT Open class. So we're going to give that a bit of a try as well. What else have we got? Oh yes, further up actually. We're up here. In the Copa truck section, we also have the Vulcan truck. All the trucks in Formula Truck area are, well, not all of them actually, tell a complete lie. They're all actual manufacturers, except I think the Vulcan. I don't think it's a actual truck manufacturer. I think it's it's similar to one that races in the real championship, but it hasn't got the license for it, as far as I know. So we have an extra Formula truck to play with. So as far as content's concerned, you'll just have to consult the the change log here, because I don't want to miss anything out, because there's just literally so much stuff. So yeah, so that's all as far as cars are concerned, and obviously we have the tracks as well. And true to form with all the recent updates from Riser Studios, we have a substantial list of physics updates as well. So we've been going through updating some of the old classes already in Automobilista 2. We've also had some new updates come through. Just to pick out a couple of them for you, we have revised physics for the Caterhams, the ARC Camaros, the GT Classics. So that's going to be our RSR and our Corvette. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes, considering the last time we drove those. The vintage touring cars as well, and the street cars get full revised physics treatment. And literally, there's just so many other things on there, which there's just so much that you just go into. So let's jump in on track, and we'll go through as we go. I think we'll start off slowly, and we'll build ourselves up. So we'll jump in the Mini first, and have a look at what liveries we have. We have 2 livery available. Kind of a duck egg blue with a orange roof, or the garish green and orange. We'll go with the blue one. It's kind of more classic looking. I'm not going to take this to the oval, because that would be insanity. So let's go to, well, I was at Alton Park today, so let's go to Alton Park. That'd be a good starting point. We'll go to the full international circuits. This is just purely a test day, so we're going to just give this a go. Right, well, welcome along, guys. Good to have you with us. I've probably missed quite a lot of your comments. It's all been flooding in, but thank you for letting me know the sound is good. I'm very pleased that the sound is working well. Ah, yes, Tish, you reminded me of another one. Steve, you got a T300 wheel. Oh, well done. You managed to get yourself a wheel. I'm glad. That's good. What else? We've got Funky's here. Marty's here. Welcome, guys. Steve. Funky says Spa 22 was a surprise. Yes, that is another thing which I've missed off already. So we have the latest revised version of Spa available, which has the new runoff areas, and also I think the Eau Rouge would be slightly reprofiled, but we'll check that as well. Gareth, Busca Oval for the win. Oh yes, you know that's got to be done, don't you? Barry here, welcome Barry. An oval setup should steer to the left on a straight. Yes, it should do, because of the stagger, absolutely. And Tish, you rightly pointed out the GT4 Mercedes is another new entry on the list of cars, which I completely missed. So let's have a look and see what we can do here. Let's drive the Mini. I'm going to don my gloves for the first time ever on stream. Well, yes, I've become a sim racing glove wearer since the new wheel, purely to try and keep the suede in as better condition as possible. So excuse me while I just put my old karting gloves on, and right, we're ready to go. So let's see how we get on with this new Mini. Now you may think of this being as like a bit of a port over, because you've already got a Mini in game, so it's simply a case of take the model, throw it into another class, job done. Probably not. This is going to be slightly different as well, so let's see how this drives. As mentioned earlier on, we probably have slicks available to us. So we've got cold tyres, as you can see from the graphic on the bottom left, so let's just feel our way in here. The force feedback's quite light. I may have to turn that up slightly. I'm still figuring out some settings for the new direct drive wheel. But thankfully, I know I've said it once and jinxed myself, but I'm going to try again and say it. I think the EMI issues are sorted. So fingers crossed that works. Okay, down to the chicane down here at Britain's. Second gear, buzz the engine, usual stuff. Up and over hilltop we go, down towards Hislop chicane. And here we go, get ourselves on the brakes just before the one board. Down to second a bit later, smash that sausage curb. This is quite a lively drive, I will admit. So Funky says definitely smoother into Eau Rouge. Oh, on the track layout for the new Spa. Whoa, wobbly. Ooh. Trying my hardest to roll this new Mini. Not quite got there yet. Marty, thanks for the $2, Marty. I appreciate that. Riser brings Christmas in August, he says. No kidding. Third gear, Phil, not second. Second gear is not suitable. Oh, I appreciate that, Marty. Thanks for donating the $2. That's very, very kind of you. Barry says, my suede wheel looks second-hand already. I've been wearing gloves too. Ah, yes. I have noticed that obviously where the hands go on the wheel, the suede has flattened considerably, so yeah, I'm sure it's only going to be a matter of time until things start wearing, but then that's to be expected with a suede wheel. Control this Mini. So Frank says, have you got mechanical failures on, Phil? I do. I switched those on, which is another new feature in 1.4 with mechanical failures. We have a new mechanical failures. What's the word I'm thinking of here? It's basically just a system imported into the game whereby we have mechanical failures built into the car. So if you were to be a little bit greedy with, say, the amount of cooling you don't allow the engine to have, and your engine starts to overheat, you can damage things such as the coolant system. You can drop all your coolant, you can overcook the engine, all that kind of stuff. So there's mechanical failures now built into the sim. So we have mechanical failures on, and we'll see what happens. I'll just place bets on what the first mechanical failure of the evening will be, if any at all. Be curious to see what that might happen to be. Chad says, did the Mercedes GT4 get added? Yes, it certainly did. I have seen it in the lineup of cars in GT4, so it is there. We'll certainly take a look at that in due course. So now the front tyres are warming up. The rears are still cold, but things are settled down a little bit in the drivability stakes. Into Lodge corner, back end still wants to come round, but that's very Mini-esque, I suppose. Suede brush has got, yeah, absolutely. Suede brush needed just to give it a little bit of a tidy. Down to old Hall, back end just slightly coming around on us on the way in. Bit of power to pull us through the corner, not a problem at all. Feeling good so far, I will admit. Backing into cascades, keep the power down, drag the front end round. And the rear will just have to follow at some point as well, so it's good. Down to Island Bend we go again. Quick corner, try and balance it through here. Not that quick though, Phil. We're going to go introduce ourselves to the marshals. Crunch. Right, let's just quickly, I did turn this down earlier on because something was rather strong, so I'm going to put that back up to 40 again and just see what happens now. Let's go back to the pit garage and we'll try that again with some additional force feedback so we have a better feel of what the tyres are doing underneath us. Could feel what was going on a little bit, but it was quite light, so put it back to the original setting that I had it on for AMS2. So, other things to bring to your attention for the new 1.4 updates, live track updates as well. So, live track is something which is part of the Madness engine, which we're familiar with obviously from the Project Cars franchise, which incidentally is being cancelled, well 1 and 2 anyway, from sale because of licensing issues, but that's beside the point. But live track is something which is a lot of sims are doing these days with trying to implement this dynamic track surface which has various things going on, so whether it be heating up or tyre build, rubber build up on the surface, all that kind of thing. So live track's had an update for version 1.4, so I have the track set to lightly rubbered at the moment rather than default progressing, so probably have a little bit more grip available to us. But one of the other things that's interesting about the live track update is the opportunity now to make the the track dirty. So if I were to overshoot a particular corner and then come back onto the track, in theory it should drag on a whole heap of rubbish and dirt from the outside of the circuit, and then the next time you come round you may well find that there's a rather dirty track in front of you and you have to drive accordingly. Likewise, if you have cars following behind you and you've run off track and brought a whole load of dirt back on again, the cars following behind will actually clear away the dirt, so it gets back to becoming more and more built up with rubber again. So as you would expect a real life track to do. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. We'll have to test that later, so we'll go somewhere particularly dusty, so I probably recommend maybe Laguna Seca, and we'll go on there. We'll just drive off circuit and try and drag on as much dirt as we possibly can, and have a look next time round. So we'll try that out. One of the many updates or features of this update. Okay, so force feedback turned up, and the Mini now starting to pick up pace with its heated up front tyres, partially down to my over exuberant right foot. Yeah, feeling pretty good. It's feeling quite nice in terms of its feedback through the wheel and telling me what's going on. It's still lively, but it's very communicative and very nice to try and feel what's going on underneath me. You can definitely feel that the car has a lot more tyre grip. That's partly down to the fact that we're running slicks rather than cross-play tyres like you do in the TC Classic series. Use third gear for Britain chicane this time, and over the curve on the exit. But this is going to be a fun addition. So obviously the Copa Classics B series includes things like the Chevette and I think the Uno's in there as well, a couple of other bits and pieces, one of the Pumas, and it's one that I quite like the class anyway. It's, you know, it's quite a fun class, and this is going to add another dynamic to it with the front wheel drive Mini. Going light over the crest there, the car's trying to power and steer off to the right. I think this drives quite nicely actually, and quite representative of how you would expect a Mini to drive. So if you've seen a Mini racing on track at the limit, they're not just simply driving around stuck to the ground, they are moving around an awful lot, and a lot of the time four-wheel drifting through some of the corners is because it's just the nature of the car and how they handle. So I expect this kind of car to move around an awful lot, and it certainly feels that at the moment. So it's not just a turn it in and it sticks and you drive out the corner. You've got to manhandle it a little bit just to kind of get the most out of it. So cascades, I need to drag the brake in there a little bit more to stop that lift off oversteer. But okay, well that's the sign of things to come this evening. That's a good start. That is a very good start. So Copa Classic B Mini. It's very nice. I like it. Yeah, very, very cool. I like Minis in general anyway. I think Minis are really fun cars to drive. Be curious to see what the TC Classics version is like now with the physics updates. But there we go. So that's that. Let's... we said we are going to pick up the pace slightly, so we'll go to the Copa Truck Series next. I think that'll be the next step up. And we'll check out the Vulcan. So you've got 4 liveries available. We have this black with fluoro green, we have light blue, white and orange, and another white and orange in different number of variations. So white and orange looks pretty cool. I'm going to run with 85. Let's take this to a Brazilian circuit somewhere. Let's go to Brazil. In fact, no, I'm going to go to Argentina for this one, because I'm going to go to, where is it? Cordoba, because I enjoyed driving the Copa trucks around Cordoba in the past, so we're going to give this a try and see how this one goes. Barry says, slower cars are usually more fun to race. Yes, they are, absolutely. That's why we love the Fusca. That's why the Fusca is just the mainstay of sim racing Bible, because it's a slower car and it's just fun to race. So yeah, Mini's really good. Good start. And obviously the speed is going to be considerably different when we get up to the oval racing stuff. It's going to be night and day difference. Right. the Vulcan. I'm trying to remember from the original Formula Truck game as to which one was missing. I think it's the Volvo. I think it's the Volvo truck that we're in here. So, engage diesel power. Get the airlines up to pressure. We'll chug off to the pit lane exits. Obviously second gear is kind of your pit lane speed limiter in this truck. And we are released. Oh, we have some interesting new tyre sounds actually. This is that kind of groaning kind of sound that you get from tyres on racing trucks usually. They're kind of protesting with the sheer weight of the truck trying to corner. Here we go then, down towards the fast sweeping right-hander in our Vulcan truck. That sounds good, that sounds very very true to life. Oops, cross-gating down to third, that's not a brilliant idea. Okay. Fourth feedback is strong again, so we might have to just do a quick adjustment on that, but it's livable for the moment. I do love the sound of these trucks, they do sound awesome. I know a diesel truck engine isn't exactly a thoroughbred V10, but they have their own unique kind of enjoyable sound to them. Those tyre noises are really ever present, aren't they? They're always there. But it's what you would expect with this kind of vehicle. Down to turn one then. Get it turned in. Try and kick out the rear with a bit of throttle, but we're just ploughing at the moment. Running straight off onto the exit. Love the sound on the downshifts. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's mega. Just the turbo whistles, the chatter you get. It's so good. Come on. Turn. Yeah, the changelog is massive, isn't it, Matt? It's absolutely huge. There's so much on there, and there's two of them as well, because they've gone from the previous version to 1.4 and then 1.4 to 1.41, so there's two lots of changelogs to go through, so much to kind of dig through. Probably should have started this one, the slowest option for the evening. But Formula trucks for a long time on my MS2 have not been the driving experience that I remember them being from the original Formula truck or even Automobilista 1 days, so it's good to see that they are now feeling a little bit more representative of what the actual vehicles are like. So, I mean, obviously they're very heavy trucks. They're well sorted race trucks, granted, but they are very heavy pieces of kit, so you're not expecting them to be agile like a fly and just change direction just like that. It's not going to be one of those experiences. It's a very different driving dynamic with one of these things. So you just have to adapt accordingly and drive to the abilities that you have. Also good to see that the tyres are not getting massively overheated, which was one of the things that the trucks were doing at one point, is just cooking the tyres. And so far, they're staying at a nice operating window. So although Cordova itself is a fairly basic circuit, it's quite enjoyable to drive with one of these things. last corner, well, second to last corner always kind of catches me out a little bit. It's very not confusing, it's just kind of catches you out in terms of you think you can go through it much quicker than you actually can. Alright, let's try and induce some oversteer rather than just chronic understeer. Because this thing certainly wants to push and not go faster, just push off the circuit. Let's give it a bit of a flick into here. Hard on the power. Hard on the grass. Trying to clutch kick the rear end out. It's not working. Okay, now the front end's complaining in terms of tyres. Getting some yellow front left. We'll cool it off. Put some pressure on the right instead for a change. Finish this lap off. I love how you get the weight catch up with you. So you obviously you turn in, there's not much in terms of front end grip and sticking into a corner, and then all of a sudden you come out the other side when you're trying to apply the throttle, and all the weight suddenly shifts to going in the opposite direction, and you get this quite slow but nice transition from understeer through to oversteer, and you can just power your way out of the corner. So there we go. That's the new Copa truck, the Vulcan. Definitely not a Volvo. Not a Volvo. It's a Vulcan. And it's quite fun as far as the Copa truck's concerned. I mean, obviously, the main fun part of the trucks is having a full pack of them on the track, having a bit of a race. But yeah, good fun to kind of coax around the circuit. Right, next up then, so step up again in terms of speed. I think this is where the speed will actually pick up quite significantly here. So I think probably the next one to try will be the GT4 specification Mercedes. So here we go. It's in the orange livery. Let's have a look, see what else we have available. So we have a nice silver and green. Cool black, red and white, mostly white, chrome yellow and blue, that's rather nice, and then an orange and blue kind of McLaren-esque colours with the black as well. That's quite nice. I'm going to go with the chromed one, I reckon. Look at that, what a beauty. Right, so let's take this to a GT4 friendly circuit. How about we go, well, why don't we go to Spa? So let's have a look then. We've got obviously the historic 93 versions. This is part of the Spa DLC, so you get the two versions of Spa, and then there's the 2022 version of Spa, which has the re-profiled Eau Rouge, although the track map looks to be exactly the same. But here we go. So that's a free update for those who have already got the Spa DLC. So let's go test the Merc out here. Big differences for the Spa 22 version. Obviously, it's Belgian Grand Prix this weekend, so you may have already seen some of the track layout changes, but it's mostly to do with the outside of the circuit, so moving walls away from circuits, a whopping great grandstand at the top of Radial, and just generally safety improvements. So the circuit layout itself is probably not going to be too dissimilar from what you're already familiar with. So that sounds quite nice already. So the circuit layout itself should be fairly similar, but just lots of new exterior changes. Right, so this is all very different now. So V8 powered, obviously. Have a quick sound check. Just checking for any kind of funny loops or missing transitions, but all sounds so good. Interesting whine, low speed, and then we'll unleash it. Sounds pretty good. Right, here we go. New profile coming down to Eau Rouge. Does feel a bit tight to go in there. Does that move out to the right more? Very interesting. Right, down the Kemmel Straight we go then. Pretty much as usual, as you would expect. Down towards Les Comps. Just taking it nice and gentle for the opening lap. So we've got some gravel on the inside there. Ooh, bit of oversteer going on, even though we're just tickling the throttle so far. Down towards Rivage, this is where we have gravel added in on the outside there. Just taking a bit of a scenic tour of Spa-Francorchamps for this opening lap. Down towards the corner with no name. Gravel on the exit there. Unleash some of the AMG power down to Pouhon. So there's some gravel on the exit there. That was mostly tarmac before, and we've brought in a little bit of gravel. This is mostly down to changes for getting motorbike racing to happen around Spa-Francorchamps, which was not really possible with the current track state. It wasn't eligible for a motorcycle racing license, so that's where most of these changes have originated from. Lots of gravel on the exit there. Through Curve Paul Frere, and then up the hill towards Blanchimont. So track wall pushed back a little bit there. I think probably the same up here as well. Oops. Yeah, there's some gravel on the exit there. That was all tarmac before. And down to the bus stop. Right. Well, we've got some warmed up tyres, so let's say we start putting this GT Mercedes through its paces. Let's see what we can do. Stretch its legs down towards La Source. So gravel on the exit of the source there rather than tarmac runoff, which is another big change. Right. Come at me, Eau Rouge. Yeah, that's definitely tighter on the exit. So Gaz says Max said he needs more left lock at Eau Rouge now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can kind of carry that on the previous version of it much straighter, whereas this is requiring a lot more steering inputs, especially at the top. Okay, pushing on a little bit more now with the Mercedes. Tricky downhill braking for Rivage. Get it tucked in nice on the inside. Get the power in. Now, GT4 cars are mostly designed for enthusiastic gentleman racers who want to go GT racing, so there's an element of drivability in them to aid the lesser experienced racing drivers to be able to handle them with relative ease. So in theory it should be a fairly nicely balanced and non-scary race car. Of course that doesn't mean it's going to be absolutely glued to the rails, but it should be not too bad in terms of its drivability off the corners. So let's see how we get on. Steve W says, are you going to have any more community races? Of course, yes, we shall certainly do some more community races in future. Hopefully they'll be less physical than the last ones we were doing. We had a couple of rather enthusiastic affairs with the H-pattern cars, but hopefully we can get that down to being a little bit more civil in the future. Okay, so what are we thinking so far of the GT4 Mercedes? So GT4 is quite a popular class in a lot of sim racing at the moment. and of course it's one of those cars which features within the class, so it's always good to have an extra car to fill out the roster of cars available. Let's try and sort my rouge out here. It's down a gear. Okay, there we go. So it's good to have an extra car to fill in some of the blanks. But each car does have its own unique driving styles and kind of driving physics themselves. And on Automobilista 2 at least, the M4 BMW is renowned for being a little bit too slippery, whereas this does feel quite nicely stuck to the road. There's a good amount of traction and overall cornering grip as well. I feel like you can quite confidently press on with it and not get caught out in a rather scary manner. So it's yeah, it's quite confidence-inducing, so you can actually start picking up the pace and trying to push on just a little bit quicker. Car sounds pretty good as well. Force feedback-wise, again, plenty of detail and a whole lot more than I was experiencing with the Fanatec now I'm on the direct drive, but at the same time taking it as a complete refresh and a reset of what my force feedback expectations are. You feel what's going on, so you have that nice rippling as you go over the curbs. You know when your wheel is on the curb, you know when the weight's shifting from side to side, you know what's going to be happening next essentially. It's not going to surprise you with the fact that all of a sudden you're going to get a whole boost of force feedback right in the middle of the corner which you weren't expecting, which then completely throws you off course. So it's all feeling very good and very natural, which is always good. Right, here we go. There's the bus stop, just about got stopped. But the car feels good, drives nicely, and if you're a fan of modern day GT racing, I'm sure you're going to enjoy driving this one. Stephen says, we're getting news that Danny Rick will be replacing you in the SRB driving season next year. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Yeah, well, I have heard those rumours, and I can confirm that without my knowledge they've been circulated, and I will be continuing to drive for SRB as I have a contract in place. So you guys are safe. You're not going to have Danny Rick streaming every Saturday. Although I'm sure you guys would love that. It would be infinitely better than watching me. You might have an inch of talent too. Okay, now it's time to dance a little bit, and that was nice through Lake Con. It was just push on, catch the rear end when it steps out. I was a little bit enthusiastic trying to turn in that early, but yeah, got away with it. And it's a good thing that for a modern day GT4 car, which is quite a grippy car, it's not a wild, mad, historic racer that you've got to just tame. It can sometimes seem to be quite a boring drive, but it's actually quite absorbing. You actually do. It seems to be that I'm finding myself just turning laps and just continuing to turn laps because you just enjoy driving the thing. But we have so much to cover. Can't spend all night on this, but from what I can tell you from my few laps that I've driven so far, the GT4 Mercedes AMG is a very nice addition to the GT4 roster of cars. This time let's get ourselves properly stopped for the bus stop. There we go. So SimRacer says, hey, welcome SimRacer. Says, I really just must do more AMS too. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely worth checking out. And it's also worth reporting that after the release of 1.4, there's been more people online using AMS2 than ever, so that's a good sign, positive sign going forwards. The simracer also says, Danny Rick is actually paying for another season of Neighbours to be filmed. He'll be making an appearance as a crazed Uber driver who wrecks Harold Bishop's organ. Did you put that script in for him, simracer? Stephen says, there will be a hotfix in the near future to Target 1.4. Yes, there is a hotfix coming. There's already been one today, I think. But there will be more coming as they kind of tidy bits and pieces up. Funky, with the shocking admission there, saying that he quite likes GT4. Don't worry, Funky, your secret's safe with me and everyone watching. But okay, it's fine to admit that. It's fine. I know you're a lover of your historic and classic content, but having a dabble in the modern stuff every now and again it's fine. It's okay. We'll let you go. It's all right. But that's cool. Like that. Very nice indeed. Sticking with modern GT cars, I think now is the time to jump over to the GT Open category and test out the new Ginetta G55 GT3. Now, we've had Ginettas in AMS2 before. We've got the G40, we have the G55, or the G55 Super Cup, which is a GT4 spec car. It also runs in the GT4 Championship as well. But now we have the GT3 specification Ginetta, which has the swan neck rear wing. I'm going to be quite controversial here. I'm not a fan of this overhung rear wing nonsense. I just think it looks ugly, but that's my own personal opinion. I would much prefer something like that, where you have pillars going up to a wing, whereas that just looks, I don't know, not a huge fan. But anyway, this is the G55 GT3, and I shouldn't hang up on my own personal preferences of rear wing style. So let's have a look. What livery availability have we got? So obviously we have some official Ginetta cars on here. We have the Want to Race liveries on the side there. A plain white, quite a nice red and black Fanatec livery. White and blue, nice yellow option. Fuel Tech one. Kind of a minty Ginetta. And a pure orange one. So cool. Let's I'm going to dive in with the official Ginetta one here, and let's take this to where should we go? I think we should go to a local track. We'll go to Darlington for this one, and we'll use the GP circuit. And let's go. Right. So Frank says, Funky, it's already all over the press, I'm afraid. Your street cred is ruined. Oh dear. Steve says, why pay for iRacing when you have this sim? Well, yeah. I mean, AMS2 at the moment is giving us a whole load of stuff, which, you know, it's covering a lot of bases. It's covering a lot of interest for a lot of people. And sure, that there's a lot of people who love iRacing, and so it's really down to what you want from a race sim. And obviously, iRacing has the structured online play, which isn't really vetted by any other sim currently. But you know, if you're a fan of classic cars, or you're a fan of Brazilian series, or whatever it may be, AMS2 is really a great option for you. So Funky says, damn everyone, oh no. Hey Jack, welcome along. So it's been good to see the online more active since 1.4. Yeah, it has, definitely. And I think that's only set to improve as well. And Jeff, welcome Jeff, says, yes, another live stream of AMS2. I hope the update is good. Mine is still updating. Yeah, it takes a while to go through. The actual download itself is only about 2.9 gig. But it's the patching of the whole sim, which seems to take a long time on my PC anyway. So it's well worth it when you actually get it done. Jack tried it for himself for a few hours. It's good. 7 Below 7's here, welcome. I'm going to jump in soon. What's your initial thoughts? So far, so good. As with most new updates from Rider Studios, it's good so far. Marty says AMS2 on low fuel motorsport would be sweet. Maybe one day. Yeah, maybe. We've got it on simracing GP, so hopefully we can get things moving on there as well. That might be good. Jeff's been playing multiplayer on AMS2 all day, and there've been a few fun races. Jack's happy with the physics. It's looking good. Lots of positivity coming out, which is what we want to see. Right. So, quick update on Ginettas then. So, the G40, 4-cylinder. the G55 Super Cup is a 6-cylinder. The G55 GT3 is a V8. Doesn't sound like a regular V8, it's not like a rumbly, deep throaty American V8. This is a much more high revving, kind of flat plane crank-ish sounding V8. So, lots of nice bonnet vents to look over as we head out onto the track here at Donington Park. Alright, excited for this. So just to carry on with what Jack said there, so he says physics feel pretty good to me and a variety of content is great. Multiplayer has been more active than ever today too, but early to say if that will continue, yes. Wow, okay. That picked up pretty quick. Oh wow. That's pretty nice to sound. It's kind of listening intently to some of the other sounds going on. So as you get towards the higher speeds, like an additional transmission whine seems to kick in. Oh nice, hopping and banging on the overrun. The Ginetta GT3 cars were not particularly successful in the world of GT3 racing. Obviously there's some serious competition from some of the biggest brands in sports cars, so it was always going to be a difficult nut to crack for Ginetta taking on GT3. But they certainly gave it a good go with the G55. And first things first that I noticed with this particular car, it says it's a GT3, but I'm not sure whether it runs to the same GT3 specifications as some of the others. But it certainly doesn't feel as stuck to the ground as the other GT3 cars in the game. I'll have to maybe revisit some of the other GT3s for comparison, but so far it feels like it's a little bit loose, but maybe we can dial that in. A bit grippier through the crane of curves. With the old hairpin. Bit of understeer pushing on there. Right. Let's try and catch on with you guys are having lots to say in the comments, so I'm going to try and keep up with this as much as I can whilst concentrating on what's happening on track. So Funky says you jumped in for an hour before the stream, mainly to make sure that they did not ruin my 74 RSR. Oh, and you're happy with it. Good. Well, we'll test that out later on, I'm sure. Marty said they adjusted the fuel tank height on the RSR, correct? Does it feel different? That's a question for Funky, so we'll have to give that a go. Jeff says, wow, the sound has improved as well. Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds really good. Down to the Melbourne loop. Give the power in nice and gently. So simracing says, what wheel are you using? Well, we've changed just recently. We were on a Fanatec CSW 2.5 with a Formula rim. We've now changed to a Simicube 1 with a Motormech D-shaped steering wheel paired to a DCD simulation steering plate. And it's a new experience for me, and I'm loving every moment of it so far. Whoops. Busy watching chat and not keeping my line through Hollywood. Had a little bit of a moment on the brakes there, but felt every moment of it and was able to pull it back in line, which is always nice. Slamming it down through the gears into McLanes. Picking up the throttle on the exit of the coppice and we're off down the straight. The onboard simulations, welcome along. Says, what's the lobby name? Well, currently we're just doing an offline test just to kind of go through the new content. We may do an online lobby at some point, potentially. We'll have to see how the evening pans out, but there's an awful lot to get through, so stay tuned. Hopefully we can see how we get on later on this evening, and if we can throw up a quick online lobby, I'm sure we will. So Jeff says, man is done. I'll try myself now. Vroom. Go give it a rip. It's pretty good. Well, Steve says it's paired with the Ultima, so I suspect the Ginetta has British GT specs that are different to the usual GT3 specs. I think British GT3s are. I thought they were the same, but could be wrong. But yeah, I know it has been paired with the Ultima, so it may be slightly different to a regular GT3. Wow. Feel the car load up through there. Slow down. There we go, good. Jeff says, sub and like, mate, keep on the good one. Oh, thanks, Jeff, appreciate it. Thanks for subscribing. It's a good reminder, if you are watching and you're here for the first time, big welcome to you. Good to have you with us. And if you are enjoying what you're seeing, please do consider subscribing to the channel. We very much appreciate that. And drop a like on the stream if you're liking what you're seeing as well. Yeah, I knew that was going to be a cut. Massively overshot the chicane. Also, while we're at the point of shout-outs, consider joining our Discord channel. We have a Discord channel, and it's building slowly, but it'd be good to get some conversations going in there. I'll try and answer your questions that you may have, etc., and just generally talk sim racing with a whole load of sim racing enthusiasts. And also feel free to check out our social channels, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. Right. So, the Ginetta. What's it like? Well, I think the first word that comes to mind for me is feisty. It's a bit of a wrestle. I mean, thinking about how you would pair this in with the Ultima, you're probably not far off, because the Ultima's a bit of a wild ride as well, so it kind of goes hand in hand, really, I suppose. But there's a good amount of grip. You can feel what's going on again underneath you very nicely through the wheel. It's got a good amount of power, so it really gives you a good kick down the straights, and then you can wash all that speed off with some nice strong brakes. Through the slower stuff, let's get through there. Through the slower stuff, it's a little bit understeery in default setup form. Obviously, you can change the setup settings and adjust that to your liking. And through the fast stuff, it really grips. It's quite well planted through the quick stuff. So obviously you added Goddards there. You have to be a bit patient anyway. But when you get to the really fast stuff like Craner curves, etc., old hairpin, you really feel the aero from that huge rear wing and bodywork really pushing the car into the ground, which is, as you'd expect. Feel the steering wheel load up a little bit, compression through Craner curves there. Picking the speed up now as we warm the tyres and get more used to the car. Let's give it a left hand side for McLaren's. Probably have to brake a bit earlier than that though. But this is pretty cool. Interesting to see how we can race this against the Ultima, because I remember the Ultima being even more wild to drive than this, so we'll have to see how well paired they are. I love that. And on that international chicane for Donington Park, there's a little bit of a bump as you hit the second apex, and the car tends to skip a little bit as you go over there, and you do feel that in this car, which is fun. And to Goddards for a final time, and up and over the line. So Marty says, still boiling hot there? It's not boiling hot, but it's pleasantly warm. I think you could probably describe it as being at the moment. So that's good. It's calmed down significantly from where it was. Skoda says, what's the opinion? So far, it's good. It's good. I like it. So far, it's feeling really nice. So We've only tried 4 vehicles so far. I mean, only 4. I mean, that's 4 brand new cars to the sim. I mean, spoiled. But yeah, so far each and every one of them has been really, really good. So excited to see what else is in store for the rest of this this evening. So Stephen says loosely based on GT regulations. For both models raced at one point running slightly smaller tires, less restrictive BOP regulations than usually seen in GT3. Okay, right. Yeah, so there is some differences. Yeah, Funky likes this one as well. It has a wild side to it. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I think that's probably if it's got the smaller tires. That'll probably be part of it. Lip Up, welcome. Good to have you with us. BMW M1 Pro Car at Nord. Y'all gotta try it. Yes, it's. I'm sure that's an experience and a half. Dylan, welcome Dylan. Says, I have to say a few small bugs here and there, but I'm very impressed overall. Over racing is already better than Project Cars 2. Good. And the tire model is also very good indeed. Super happy. Excellent. Good to hear, Dylan. Glad to hear you're happy with the new update. I am certainly happy with it as well. And we're only just getting involved here. So that's the new Ginetta. And I think, as far as cars are concerned, that's the only other new ones to worry about are the oval versions of the Champ car. So I think it's time we jumped into this. So I know there's a bug at the moment with the Gen 3 cars running at Gateway. It doesn't load. So if you're trying that and it isn't working, I think that's going to be one of the updates for the coming couple of days or so. So we're going to try the Gen 2 cars, and we're going to take the Reynard Mercedes here. Let's go do some oval racing, shall we? This is different stuff which you would not normally see on the channel. We don't tend to get too involved with the ovals. However, it's new. It's part of the update for AMS2, so we've got to give it a go. So we're going to do the ovals first with the Indy cars, and then we'll come back and revisit the sports car layouts of the circuits as well in other various machinery. So let's first start off with Auto Club Speedway, which is known as Fontana. This is a, I guess it's a, is it a half mile? It's a 2 mile, not really a tri-oval as such, it's just got a not straight front straight. So let's give this a go. So you can see there we've jumped into an oval and it's changed the front wheels, sorry, the front wing and the rear wing spec on the car. So it's already assigned it. It's Reynard. It's oval specification for the Indy cars. So let's go test this out. Steven says, sorry about the info. No, it's fine. Info's good. We are absolutely bombarded with info with the changelogs for the for the new update anyway. So keep the info coming. We'll absorb it as much as we can and just try and make as much sense as we can and enjoy it. So thank you for that. I appreciate the inputs. It's always good to get that kind of understanding of what's going on. Dylan says, have you tried the new Copa truck yet? I have. The Vulcan, the non-Volvo. It's good fun. Yeah, it's very nice. Right. So you can see the front end of the Reynard here with its oval spec has that rather unusual kind of downward plane of the front wings. Normally you see a front wing, it's just kind of flat. If it's a low drag spec, it would you just expect it to be just sticking out but really thin. Whereas this one's actually pointing downwards. So it's very interesting look, but very typical of Champ car and IndyCar low spec oval stuff. So right. Here we go then. In the pit lane here at Fontana. Let's get our pit limiter engaged because we don't want to cop a fine from race director. Listen to that limiter sound. Violent. Awesome. Right. Wish me luck. Let's go ease into this. A bit of stuttering going on there. So I'll hug the inside here and then blend in on the back straight. Alright. So this is a really, really quick oval. Right. Go to 5th gear. build the speed as we go. So I'm interested to see whether we have some different grooves available around here. This is quite a wide circuit, it's quite a constant banking all the way up the circuit as well, so it's not like the higher you go or the lower you go, the banking changes, so you should hopefully be able to have a couple of different grooves available to you through the race, and that's obviously going to depend on where people are running and what tyre buildup there are on the individual lines available. So, okay, we have got 6 gears, so we'll use them. So 5th and 6th gears are very close together, presumably so you can just drop down to one of the 5th gear and then hopefully carry that speed onto the next straight and then go back up to 6th. It's actually geared quite long for this circuit by the looks of things. At least easy to learn, says Funky. Yeah, if you don't clap the wall. Okay, well here we go, we're over racing in AMS2 everybody. Well, not over racing as such, we're oval driving. Let's go take the high line around here. Ooh, rear end's loose, turning into there. However, you can still keep it pinned. Already on to lap 4. So let's keep it high all the way around this lap and see what the lap time is, and then we'll keep it low for the next lap. So although we're travelling further around the top of the banking, it should be slightly less graded, potentially. And less of an arc for steering to carry a bit more speed, so... Right. Let's go down low. So although my foot is absolutely welded to the floor, not lifting whatsoever, you can just feel the rear end just moving around ever so slightly. Steering wheel loads up quite significantly as you get onto the banking. So RJ Brown, welcome along. 6th gear is probably for the draft. Yes, no, you're probably absolutely spot on there. It's exposing my limited knowledge of oval racing. So rear right tyre is getting rather warm. Well, not rather warm, it's warming up considerably more than the other 3. So it seems like the lower line is the preferred line for time. There we go. So going round and round in circles on our own is quite straightforward. It's not necessarily the most exciting thing to watch for you guys, so we'll do a quick run through of the circuits, see what they're like, and then we'll jump in and throw some AI at it as well. So that's Fontana, the oval, a very fast flowing just throttle mashing experience of an oval. So let's now take this somewhere else and we'll try the new Gateway circuit, which has also just been released for R-Factor 2, funnily enough. So yeah, it's interesting we've got that all of a sudden crop up in 2 separate sims all at once. So here we go, Gateway, and we'll go once again with the oval layout. Here we go. Steelcast27, welcome, good to have you with us. 6th is for draft and fuel conservation. Yes, 5th is also for solo running, so we'll probably use 6th gear considerably more when we get other cars on track, so good to know. Dylan's like, yes, thank you, the Hartford rear wing, as mentioned above there. Hopefully get the AI sorted, but I would say it's 90% at the moment. Okay, interesting. I'll see how that goes. Monkey says you should try a short race. Yes, I shall certainly do that. Does this one have the onboard track bar? I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to have a look into that. Steel's hitting all the streams in between diaper changes. Good on you. Yeah, know what that's like. Okay. Gateway oval. This is a shorter oval. And it has has 2 different radius oval corners. So I believe this first one is the tighter one, and then the second one is the slightly more open one. So we'll see how we go. You've got to feed the throttle in gently with these things because they will bite you. Okay. Very different this time, so we are having to do some throttle management in some of these corners. So down towards turns 1 and 2, I believe they would be called. To get on the brakes for that one, rather than just a lift. So yeah, definitely much quicker through this one. It's interesting, you've got curves on the inside as well. Most ovals have just a white line, but this one actually has proper curves. This is a very different experience for AMS2. You can't mash the throttle with this car, no way. Speaking of IndyCars, there is something missing from this update, which was teased before you get the. We had the news earlier on in the week or so that there's one particular car which isn't going to be part of this update just yet, and that's the modern day version of an IndyCar. And that's because I believe the guys at Ryder are working on something rather exciting for licensing purposes, so hopefully that'll all work out, and soon enough we'll be able to enjoy some of the delights of modern day IndyCar racing. Cool. Well, there we go. That's Gateway. Nicely modelled looking circuit. Very unique oval, really, this one. There's only, as far as I know, this one and Darlington, which has 2 different radius corners. But this one's considerably tighter than Darlington. But, you know, looks-wise, it looks good. You got good, good details on the outside of the circuit with the lighting gantries and also the grandstands, pit buildings, etc. Looks nice. Looks nice. Okay, let's go add some additional cars to the mixture, shall we? Just to shake things up. The Steelcast says, "Well, get the weight jacker working. Let me know what you think." Ooh, yeah. Well, that's something I'm completely not sure about using, actually. I know people use it in iRacing and it's essential, but we'll have to have a look into that and just try and work it out. So Barry says that Dash is very IndyCar Racing too. I've not played that one, but I'll take your word for it. The Gaz says that you should be in the H-pad by the looks of things. No, these are stick shift sequentials, apparently. As Barry says underneath, actually, yeah, I think they are sequential, these ones. I was driving them initially when they were released with the H-pattern, but I was told then that they're actually sequential. So Jeff said, I just tested the M6 GT3 and oh goodness, on the new Spa 22 track, the FFP is just good, plus the sounds. Okay, good stuff, good positive stuff. The Steelcast says they race this track at night. Pretty cool. Yeah, we'll have to have a look at that then. So let's go find ourselves a race. Oh, also worth mentioning, when you load it in, we have some new images. So we've updated the images for the individual menus, so don't get lost when you join in because we have some new things to look at. So we'll click on this mini image over here for the single race, and just like that we have the Reynard set up with Gateway. So we've got the same class. Just want to make sure we haven't got this on multi-class still. This is also part of the new update where you can actually now specify if you have multi-class. You can edit the classes, and also you can edit how many of each class are on the grid. So beforehand, you just say, I want these particular classes on the grid, and it'll just apply an even amount of each one on the track. But if you wanted to say have a 60-40 split of GT3 to GT4, you can then specify which cars you want available on the grid. So you have more GT3s than you would have GT4. So that's a good update from that side of things. It also shows you on the right hand side here how many liveries are available as well. So if you were to say you wanted 30 cars on the grid, but there's only 25 available, you are going to expect to have some repetition of liveries. So we're going to run with 23 cars just for the time being. Also worth mentioning here, the opponent aggression, which was a slider beforehand, so it was just a scale of 0 to 100. Now it's got some individual settings, so you've got low, medium, high, and maximum aggression. Max Verstappen aggression, which we have various settings here. So I had it on low just now. Let's put it up to medium and just see what happens. We're just going to jump straight into this race. We're not going to bother with any qualifying. We have it on rolling start as well. So let's go see if it will deal with running this at midnight. See if it can handle it. So, guess I know you don't have a sequential, hence the H button. Yeah, I'll use the paddles on the rim, which is sufficient for now for the sequential stuff. Does the job. Okay, so questions around this then. So obviously oval racing is new. As part of this, we have now full course yellows as well, which was something we didn't have before. Beforehand, we had local yellows. Oh, there's a truck driving in the background. That's cool. Bit of atmosphere. Yes, we had local yellow flags beforehand, but now we have full course yellows. So should any of the AI decide to get overzealous into the first corner and take out their opponents, I didn't save the settings. Thanks, Baraka. I shall have to go back and revisit that. So if an accident were to occur, a full course yellow would be thrown and everyone have to slow down and form up before green flag resumes racing. I believe there's supposed to be a safety car coming as well, but I'm not sure whether that's implemented just yet. So here we are on the grid in 17th, so we're in the carbon fibre section of the grid. Let's see. Oh yeah, I didn't say the settings, so we're driving in the daytime, not night. Right. So let's see what it's going to be like getting one of these going from a rolling start, knowing how much they spin up when we try and go full throttle. So let's see what happens here. Wait for the lights. Not too bad, a little bit of wheel spin, but we're away. These 5 laps are going to flash by very, very quickly indeed, as will my life before my eyes. I'm still in it, I'm still survived somehow. That's the medium aggression coming out in the AI and me. Racing these really quick Indy cars on quite a tight confined space such as Gateway really is insanity at times. A good outside line there, but we're going to get blocked out on the exit. This is where we really do need a spotter coming in to tell me whether I'm having a car on the inside or whether I'm clear. So you have to rely on the proximity markers behind me to tell me what's going on. He's in the wall. And we managed to lift and avoid. Got off the corner reasonably well. So we are locked in. Speaking of sounds, we have some new updates in terms of sounds when you're in close proximity to walls. So you may have heard a little bit of reverb there as we got squeezed in towards the wall. Very different looking rear wing on the car ahead of us on the right there. We're 3 wide. And back out of that. And we'll make our own 3 wide on the outside. Ah, squeezing. It's just pure chaos. Okay, last lap coming up. I had to avoid up the top, still not slowing it down enough, but somehow managed to round them all up on the outside. AI is seemingly running quite comfortably together actually. I might have to put this AI's ability up a little bit. Can we grab the lead in the end? No. P2 at the end. Didn't quite manage to snatch the W on that one. Whoop. I think we just got spun around. Right, let's take a quick look at the Let's take a look at the finish there. There we go, coming off the final corner. Where's the line? There, okay, hang on. Let's go into chase mode here and just see how close this really was. Photo mode. And let's hover around here. Oh yeah, no, he's clearly got a nose in front of me there. Let's just turn down the shutter speed so we get an idea where the line actually is. There you go. That's oval racing for you in AMS2. That's pretty cool. Nearly had him, but we managed to pit P2 very much at the end there. That's mega. Love it. Okay, so that was a little bit frantic, a little bit wild, but yeah, I can get into that. We need some stock cars. That's what we need. Not just the Brazilian stock cars or the old stock cars. We need some NASCAR style stock cars. That's what we need on MS2 next, I think. Right, just catching up with what you guys said. So Funky says you can't be worse than your standing starts. Hey, careful! I'm all right on standing starts on MS2. It's just race room is my standing start problem. So Marty says I use an add-on radar for MS2. Okay. Yeah, the AI did behave very nicely around there. They were very good. Gateway is fun. Yeah, you're right, Dylan. It is very fun. So Marty says custom driver and helmet models now too. Expect to see mods on our day within days. Yes, most likely. You can now modify helmet designs and things as well as the cars, obviously. So that's cool. Right, so that's oval racing at Gateway, which is quite frantic when you get into the parts we have to brake. But how about we do a race here at Fontana? This is where things will be a little bit more tactical. We'll be flat out all the way. So we'll do that. Let's save the settings. We didn't save last time, so we're on rolling. Yeah, that's the reason I didn't save it. It's hidden behind my wheel, so I couldn't see it. That's my excuse. Right, so let's go do a quick 5-lap race around Fontana with the IndyCar, and then we'll jump on to try out the sports car layouts of the oval circuits as well. So, but then we also need to do Daytona. We need to do Daytona Oval. So we'll give that a go. So yeah. Hey, you know, again, it's Automobilista 2 being all things for all people in a way of providing different disciplines that people are into, whether it be single-seaters, GTs, touring cars, historics, modern, oval racing now. You know, it really does just cover so many bases, and it's mega. Really, really cool. Funky! Ah, thanks very much for the £5. Really appreciate that. Thanks so much for donating. You guys are amazing. Sorry, Phil. Oh, you have to pay me off. That's fine. I appreciate it. Thanks, Funky. I know you mean well. Right. So this time, where are we on the grid? We are starting P17 again. Right. Nighttime with lights on. Full crowd here at Fontana. Let's see what the draft does in the champ cars. Had a second gear start, and I've been left for dead. It's fine, we'll get them back in the 5 laps we have remaining. Now, I expect we're going to get quite a few cars wide around here. It's a lot wider than Gateway. We glare off the floodlights down the back straight. A lot more force feedback through here, actually. It maybe feels like it's perhaps a bit bumpier than Gateway. So here we go. We're at plumb last. We can't wait for them to brake to catch up with them, so we're going to have to use the draft. Or the wall. Oh, I had to dip out of the throttle. Sparks fly as the car hits the barrier in front of us. Now we're back on everyone's case. It's a little bit choppy in terms of its performance, but it's possibly down to running at night time. They're all behaving very nicely, no real dramas. Let's drop down low here. Sliding around. Ooh, got a run there though. Cutting our own groove. Now we're going to jump up and get around this Firestone livery car briefly. We're making progress. Had to lift off there though. Wow, someone just cut down underneath us. The play hard car. Got a run on us in the turn 1 and 2. Get back at him here. Return the favour. Drop down low. They're all using a much higher groove at the moment. They're making the low groove work for us. Get it back in that draft, makes it gear work better. Rear end is rather light. Drop it down to 5th. Oop, bit of a jink at me by the opponent on the right. And that bottom line, I got someone in my mirror down there as well, so he's following me, making use of my slipstream, very clever. I just love that, 5 laps are done. That's quite tactical. You do have to pick who you work with in terms of a tow. But there's lots to it. You know, you're jumping in behind people. You're trying to make moves where you can. Obviously, we're a little bit quicker on the lower line through there than the AI are. Maybe an AI change might negate that advantage we had around there, but it's what you do with over racing, is you try and seek out where you're quicker and try and use that to your advantage, and if it works, it works. So, okay. Quick, short, sharp blasts of races, but I think over a longer period of racing, that might become quite strategic in the way you do it, and just trying to work out, you know, how you pit, or, you know, because if you're going to throw full course yellows, if there's going to be some kind of caution somewhere, then you've got to jump into the pit lane and things. So, there we go, everyone's coming into the pit lane now. Right. Let's try and see if we can cause a full course yellow. I'm pretty sure I have them set, so let's just see if we can induce one here. Let's go completely gung-ho into turn 1. We'll have to get the race started before we can get a full course yellow, obviously, but let's try it. Oh no, you got the best of me off the start. That's it, you're having it. Watch this. Oh no, oh no, I'm spinning. What a shame. Got to be a full course yellow, right? Full course yellow, there you go. Speed up, you're too slow. Thanks for the encouragement. So, get closer to your lead. Don't you know, I just stuffed into a wall. I would take the slow car ahead. Ooh, someone else has gone off. I didn't do that. It's not my fault. Can't blame me for that one. So I got no front wing. Car in the pit lane there as well. It says do not overtake, obviously. Doing a full course yellow. Let's catch up with the guys ahead. Everyone's lining up neatly behind each other. Okay. Even doing a bit of weaving too, look at that. This guy's lost his rear wing. Oh, that's pretty cool. Obviously you don't tend to get full course yellows on road courses very often, so we're also pulling to the left after our damage. So very much an oval racing thing. You can get full course yellows in circuit racing, but that's mostly just safety car stuff. But there we go, it works. I love how they weave too, that's so cool. Can we pit in the yellow? That's the thing. I know sometimes when the yellows come out, you end up having the pit lane close and then you can't go in for a pit stop. Get ready. Okay, so we're going green by the looks of things. Just not yet. Go! And we got left for dead. Which is probably deserving considering my horrific moment on lap 1. Right. So there we go. Full course yellows work, and they are quite nicely implemented. They actually do what they're intended to do, and the AI play along. So very good. Right, just coming back onto your comments. So Funky says, following up from his apology, says, "I'm still a bit salty about you nicking my pole position." I'm never going to live that down, am I, Funky? Never. I'm sorry, I should have let you have it. Dylan says, what AI settings are you using? Because they aren't checking up nearly as badly as for you as they do for me. So my settings are 100% and medium. Probably can improve the skill level to a bit higher. I usually run at about 103, 104, I think. But yeah, medium opponent aggression. Classic medium is just yeah, same 100 and then lower skill. Yep, absolutely right. Welcome along, classic media room, by the way. Okay, so let's check out some of the road circuits. Now, we need to do this with some suitable road racing circuit cars, and obviously we've covered all the new cars in the update. However, refer back to my enormous changelog. Let's see what cars have been revisited. So I know Caterhams are on the list. The Aussie racing cars, Camaro, the GT Classics, the vintage touring cars, and the street cars. So let's take a Caterham out. I was watching some Caterham 420Rs today. The racing was epic. So I'm going to run 22 177. Yep, the super light will be the one. So we'll run this one, and we'll start off at Gateway. We'll try out two versions. We've got road course short and we have road course long. Road course short is the one we have in R-Factor 2. They don't have road course long in R-Factor 2, so that's going to be a new one. So we'll start off with the short version, and then we shall go into the long one. Also a good comparison here because we have the Caterham Academy car, which I should probably use actually. Let's use the Academy. Do this because I've driven the Academy on R-Factor 2 around the short course at Gateway. So let's see how that compares with Automobilista 2 as to which one drives better. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting little test. Now the short course at Gateway is quite your typical roval essentially. Not a huge fan of rovals mostly because they all kind of go along the same kind of recipe in terms of you have to come off the banking, you have a bit of a braking on a corner, and then you're in, then you use the banking at the end or whatever. So there's a lot of very similar traits that you find in rovals. But this one was quite fun with the infill section. There's just a couple of chicanes, but they're quite quick chicanes for flicking cars through. So let's try the Academy. And see how we get on here. This is turn 1 essentially. Okay, so here we then flick through to the left and the right. Whoop. Bit of a weight transition through there, and a bit of grass on the exit. Some big curbs. And lots of scratch marks on my windscreen. Someone's not cleaned their wipers before turning them on. Left them with a whole load of nasty scratches over the windscreen. doesn't help when you can't see where you're going as well. Get off this grass. Right, and this is then the long corner which then leads back out onto the oval itself, and then you go through the final corner which is the oval corner itself. So let's try and do a lap without spinning and see how we get on. So the usual Caterham high-speed understeer ensuring in the Academy car. This one doesn't have the aero cycle wings on the front, which helps to keep that front end down at high speed. So you are going to... Oops! Ah! Missed. I was expecting turn 1 to be a bit further on, but it wasn't. So we'll rejoin over here if we can. Oh, we'll just go all the way around the oval, shall we? We'll catch up. Turn 1's at Roval, so Daytona is one of them. Same here at Gateway. Quite tricky just to get down from the really high speed stuff to try and thread a car into turn 1. Right. Gateway Oval, take 2, or 3, should we say, with after the spin. Let's go for this one. So get on the brakes nice and early. And then you kind of let it drift over to the right before bringing it back into the left. And balance the car on the exit. Let's try and stay off these curbs. They look quite nasty and easy to upset the car. Leave it in 3rd gear for this long sweeping right-hander, which tightens towards the end. Let's try and play with the throttle to try and encourage the car to rotate. Not the ideal run onto the banking. Rear tyres are protesting at me. Too much sliding around going on. So, physics updates for the Caterhams then. Beforehand, I felt they drove pretty well. First noticeable difference with the update for this particular car is a lot more weight in the steering. It feels a lot heavier and perhaps a bit more direct as well, because Caterham steering is known for being very precise and very what's the word? Just direct, really, I suppose. So you get a good feel of the car moving around. You certainly feel the weight. The Caterham Academy car is not quite as stiffly sprung or set up as stiffly as a Super Sport or a Super Light, so you get a little bit more body roll. That's because these are essentially the road going versions. You can use these cars on the road, hence why they still got their windscreens and headlights. But yeah, so the car rolls around a little bit more. You can certainly feel that through the chicanes on the Gateway Oval road course, because you turn it in and you start to change the direction and go to the right, and you feel all of a sudden this weight just kind of rolling just gently from one side to another. You don't feel it just suddenly snap away from you. It's a gentle progressive roll of weight from inside to outside, and that was an aborted turn 1. Otherwise I was going to measure my length in the tyre bundle. Right. Let's do the quick lap for lap 3. I wanted to feel that weight going through the chicanes, and I have to wait another lap. But yeah, as far as driving dynamics are concerned with the Caterham Academy, pretty good so far. I think probably the main test of what the Caterham's going to be like to drive is the 620R, that mad thing, which is always been a bit of a beast to try and tame. But this time it's get on the brakes, get the right gear, and then let Right into turn 1. Balance it on the exit, which is what you would do with a Caterham. So they do have a natural tendency to understeer, and the way to cure it is with a dab of oversteer induced by some excess of throttle. And then when you do get them sliding sideways, they're not too bad. You can actually bring them back in line. So you can just hold it with a bit of opposite lock and just keep it there all the way through the corner. Cook the rear tyres, big smile on your face. Good fun. You did that on the first lap as well, Funky. Yeah, I think it's quite, if you don't know where you're going, it's quite easy to misread that first corner. And Classic Media Room, yeah, you're right, perhaps they should add some cones for turn 1. Kind of like what we found with the Speedland International Kart Circuit, the indoor one, where it's easy to miss an actual corner that you're supposed to take. It's not second gear, Phil, even third. Yeah, I just love that. Just on the exit there, just balancing the cars, you're trying to keep momentum going forwards. And again, on the exit there, beautiful. Tricky corner, this one. Obviously not the quickest way of doing it, and also that's the quickest way of ripping your thumb off. Okay, so Gateway Road Short and the Caterham with the new updated physics. Yeah, good, impressive. I mean, as I said, I think the Caterhams drove nicely before. I had no problems with how they drove before, but what this has done again is, as we've seen with the other classes that they've done the physics update for in AMS2, it's taken what was already a good solid base of physics and understanding of force feedback and just elevated it and taken it up to the next level. And that now feels nicely glued to the road. It feels, no, I don't want to say glued to the road, it feels connected to the road is what I should say. So you feel what the tyres are doing, you feel what the weight's doing, you feel how the car's moving around underneath you, but you have a good control over what's happening through the wheel, and you can just be precise with your inputs and just guide the car around the circuit in a nice, flowing, smooth manner, and that was very, very nice indeed. The oval road, sorry, the road version of this particular oval, I quite like the layout. Not quite sure how it will lend itself to some of the quicker road cars. Slower road cars are quite fun around here, so I'm not sure if you get the likes of GT3 how well they would fare on this particular circuit, but yeah, that's probably the way to go with these particular road course layouts for the ovals. Works better with some of the slower cars. Let's try one of the other ones that has been updated. Skyline Design has just subscribed. Thank you so much, Skyline Design. Welcome to Sim Racing Bible. Glad you're here and you're enjoying what you're seeing. And a big thumbs up to you for subscribing. Thank you so much. So the Aussie racing car Camaro. This is one of the cars which we featured in a video a while back of 5 cars that you should try in Automobilista 2. That was a little while ago. Obviously, things have changed an awful lot considering since then. But I'm pretty sure this car is still going to be really fun to drive. So let's take this one to the long course at Gateway. So this time we still have the same first corner, but instead of moving all the way around, we then double back on ourselves twice. So we have a couple of hairpin bends and then use the oval, and then we break off from there and then cut back into the middle section that we know. So a little bit of a different layout. Let's see if we can get through turn 1 successfully with the Aussie Racing Cars Camaro. Yeah, so interesting to see. This little car is bike engine, 6-speed sequential gearbox. It's a space frame chassis, and it's basically got a squashed body shell on it. So it looks like a Camaro, and from the side profile it's shorter, but it's also considerably narrower than a regular Camaro as well. So they're quite entertaining things to drive. They tend to move around an awful lot, and it's like a really, really powerful kart, I suppose you could call it. So let's fire it up. Central driving position. So we're in a McLaren F1. Nice carbon fibre dash in front of us. Right, so instead of going around to the left, we now slow right down, back to this hairpin right. And then another hairpin. Oh, that's a really tight one. Do we have to... Okay, no, we can go over that curb. I wasn't sure whether we had to stay inside that or not, but should be able to cut across it. And being a bike engine, it revs. So here we go. Now we have the tight left as we cut back onto the infield. With a makeshift sausage curb to keep us in bounds. And here we are into the circuit we saw before. So again with this car, seemingly so far a good amount of grip through the corners, but then just enough to get a little bit of oversteer on the exit. Yeah, just again balancing off the corner. Nice touch of seeing the reflection of the master cylinders in the windscreen. Absolutely flat chat through the oval section on the end of the lap here. Okay, here we go. Down to turn one. Getting my brakes nice and early. Missed this tyre stack, just about. Oh, that's going to be tricky as well. Just, you're braking and turning constantly through the first couple of corners. It's a real challenge. Let's see how much we can cut on the exit. Right up onto the banking. Funky says the cute little Camaro, another really good community race car. Yeah, we haven't driven this as a community race before, so maybe we should. Slower that first chicane. Because I've compromised my exit on the way out. Oops. Okay, good, we're still on tarmac. So as I said, rovals aren't really my thing. I know a lot of people do like the roval circuit, but at least this one at Gateway I find to be quite nice. I know it's a challenge to drive in certain cars. Turn 1 is probably the hardest part of the circuit, but once you get into the main part of the lap, particularly on the short course, I feel that one has the nicer flow to it. This long version is perhaps a little bit clunky, but useful if you have a larger grid. Backing into corners, the Fusca was built for that. Yeah, absolutely. Born to do such things. A little bit better. Keep it over to the left before you catch that inside on the right, just to open it up a little bit for the next run. And on the brakes, let it drift out to the outside. Well, more than that. That was too tight, and that's compromised our run through the second part of the corner there. You really do need to take it out to the left-hand side of the circuit just to try and open up the second apex. Again, just that nice little amount of oversteer on the exit just to balance the car. It's geared quite long as well, isn't it? So only really getting up to 4th gear at the moment. A bit more speed into turn 1 this time. More over that curve. Yeah, that first corner complex is, yeah, very Mickey Mouse, not particularly enjoyable. I can't say I particularly like this chicane either. It all feels very much just makeshift. But the short version is definitely the layout of choice here at Gateway. Alright, this time let's try and run it out to the left before cutting back in. Just apply the power too early and around we go. Alright, so that's the long version of Gateway. Yeah, it's there. It's available as a circuit if you want to drive it, but probably not my personal favourite out of the two road courses for Gateway. I prefer the shore one, definitely. Okay, let's go try the Fontana one. That's the next one on the list of road courses to explore. Now this one is considerably more technical. Let's just have a quick check as to where we're going here. So obviously starting out on the banking, and this time we just take turn 1 as normal, so completely flat chat through there. Then we have a really tight bus stop chicane followed by what looks like a double apex hairpin and a quick chicane and another hairpin followed by chicane straight. And a chicane and then a wiggly bit and back out onto the oval itself. So we'll feel our way around as we go. I don't think now is the time to introduce the GT Classics. So let's test out the 620R then, shall we? We'll use this one. All right. Frankie's amending his braking, not baking. You're making some cupcakes for turn 1 with a Fusca. on the drinks. Funky was going to reply with a wine glass emoji, but Marty's used them all up. Okay, 620R, the Mad Caterham. Let's see what the new updates for the physics for the Caterham have done. See whether it's tamed it slightly, whether it's still just as mad, or whether it's drivable. Let's see what we can do. Did I pick the full oval? That I did. Well spotted, RJ Van. Thank you for that. Too busy talking my way around the road course, and I completely forget to select it. Okay, let's try again. Yeah. That's better. This time we should have a road course to try. Todd, welcome, Todd. I have a giant box of wine. Only the best. Ah. I didn't know wine came in boxes. I thought they stored them in bottles. It might go quite soggy if it was in a box, especially if it's cardboard. Kidding. Right, here we go. Try again. This time with road course corners engaged. The rear end is still lively. Even on the oval, we're just trying to cut sideways. Right, so here we go then. Here's the chicane. Some handily placed cones to tell us not to carry on straight ahead. And some tyres on the inside to avoid. Not ideal for third gear through there, but it's okay, we're still learning. Oh, this is our doubling apexed hairpin. I think we have a bit of a chicane left and then kind of, yeah, it's hard to describe it. It's a gradual entrance into a hairpin. It's very wide and open in the middle of the Fontana circuit. Oh, is there a chicane that has the rest of it? Maybe not. Didn't tell me off the track limits, so I'll take it. Okay, now we have a tight chicane here. It looks very makeshift, doesn't it? There's some elements of permanent road course on the inside with the curbs and things, but some of it is very much like, here we have a large expanse of tarmac, let's make a track out of it. So we'll put some cones and some tyre stacks down, and you just have to thread your way through them. Okay, well that's different. Otherwise, the Caterham 620R does seem quite nice to drive. It sounds good, for sure. Alright, into the chicane. Too quickly. That was a second, Phil. Okay, off we go again. Alright, into our double hairpin. Okay. If you were scared of the 620R before, you didn't enjoy it because it was just too mad, please revisit it. It's mega. So Funky says, can I suggest the early 70s F1, forgot the category, seemed improved. Yes, they have done something to the Formula Retros and the Formula Vintages apparently. Yes. I can get behind this one. This is a combo I can get behind. So RJ Vance says, seems to flow better than the track map would suggest. I think you're probably quite right there. The track map looks very bitty and not particularly pleasant to look at, but driving standards wise, it's quite good actually. Get on the brakes hard, down to second gear this time. Get it turned in, open up the left-hander, so the right-hander. Try and balance the 620R out of there, and pull it through the gears as quickly as you can, down to the hairpin, float it through here, bit of throttle. Oh, oh, that's so good. Right, chicane. Pretty sure that should be tighter, but it doesn't seem to be suggesting anything otherwise than what I'm doing. A little ambitious with the throttle that time around. Missed the cone, there we go. Okay, this is fun. Todd McDanger says, Phil just makes everything look easy, like Bond, or James Bond. Yes. Well, I try not to make it look too easy. You'd be forgiven for thinking that I'm better than I am. I do seem to make a lot more mistakes these days, but it's all part of the fun. But I appreciate the compliment anyway. Thanks, Todd. Right, get on the brakes. Let's tidy this up. Oh, just blipping the throttle on the way out, it just sounds perfect. Oh, I love it. This is a really quick chicane through here. Lick it through. Oh. I think once we pick up some more pace through there, that's going to be a really fun section of the circuit, that. Because it's really quick through that chicane, and then you're just sliding it as you're on the brake going into the hairpin. Really cool. So I'm going to say that my initial impressions of driving the circuit felt very much like I was on an autocross circuit or a skid pad or something. But I think with this particular car, it suits it really well. As far as racing's concerned around here, I'm not sure how good of a racetrack it will be, but as a driving experience with a car such as the Caterham 620R, one of the most amazing, purest driving experiences. Oops, too enthusiastic. There's some really good corner combinations which just work. I mean, this is fun through here. It's just oh, didn't keep the throttle on to keep the rear end going, but when you hook that up, it really does go through there so nicely. Right, let's get this one sorted out. Let's go really quick through here and flick it right off. Too much. Too much send. That's fun. Wow. Well. So I would have thought that would be the chicane there, but it's not telling me that I have to do that. That has genuinely blown me away, that has. That is... Go try it. Just go try this combo. I'm sure you'll have an absolute blast, just like I have just now. But just... Whereas before the Caterham 620R was one of those cars where... Fire that off a little bit. It was one of those cars where you can get sideways in it, and if you're lucky, you could control it and bring it back in line. Granted, I had one slight moment there, but that was really just being wild with it. So beforehand, you'd throw it into a corner and you'd either plow on with massive understeer, followed by slightly uncontrollable oversteer. And it was not a car that you would really be able to just jump in and drive and just enjoy, particularly straight away. But now, with the new physics updates, it has completely redefined this car for me now. The 620R is the pinnacle of Caterham cars. It's not just some mad project they decided to do and just make it go berserk. It's supposed to be the most refined and most capable Caterham in the range. It's got all the power. It's supposed to have the handling to match, and this now feels like a Caterham showstopper. It really does. It feels like one of the most amazing cars. I mean, through here, in some of these sections where you're just kind of just flicking it left and right, just kind of balancing the car on the throttle and just adding little delicate steering inputs just to kind of guide the car through the corner while your right foot does the rest, and just trying to... You just can't put into words just how fun that is. And Caterhams are fun cars. They are fun cars to drive anyway, and that totally encapsulates everything Caterham for me. That is, yeah, that's mind-blowing. So good. Right. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? Where to go from there now? That was just yeah. I should be revisiting that one for sure. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the other cars that have had physics updates. We're 2 hours in, and then we still got loads I want to try and cover. Let's go. So those are the road circuits for the ovals, the new ovals. Let's we've obviously covered the new Spa-Francorchamps. I'm being completely honest, I prefer the old one. 93 and the original 2020 version. Right, let's first of all choose what car we're going to do next, because I think we need to take out the GT Classics. So the RSR Funky's favourite is one that needs to be tested, and also the Corvette C3, which I shamefully deposed Funky of his first pole position in our community races with. Sorry, Funky. So we're gonna have to give these a go, both of them. So we'll start off with the RSR, and let's go and find ourselves a suitable circuit to do this at. And hey, let's just revisit that. Let's go to Imola. I know what we're dealing with a little bit here, so we'll test this out, see what they've done with the physics revisions for the Porsche. I mean, every time Riser have gone back and taken another look at car classes within the title and just trying to rework the physics, pretty much every time they've come out the other side being vastly improved and feeling really good. So I am very much looking forward to seeing what the difference is here. Right, so what have we got going on here? So Stiller Carl says, hi ho, you like the new update? It looks like yep. Yes, I think you caught me mid-moment in the middle of a Caterham there. Yes, I very much like the new update. It is very nice indeed. Very good fun. Todd says AMS2 is great for a bit of toss and catch. Yes, it is, definitely. You can balance the cars and just throw them around. Funky says, treat her right, Phil. Yeah, I'll do my best for you, Funky. Goddy9058 says, welcome by the way. It says, on Game of Muscle stream earlier, he rated the updated Caterhams 2 out of 10, saying they were unrealistically floaty. Clearly he was doing something wrong. Oh. I didn't feel that. I wonder whether he's comparing it to the Caterham in R Factor 2, which has a very different force feedback system to it. So the Caterham Academy car, okay, I can kind of maybe see where he's thinking that with the AMS2 Academy. It does have a very different feel to it through the force feedback. I think that's the only real difference. It's not like it's floaty. You still feel it connected to the road, but it's a different type of feel through the force feedback than you get on R Factor 2. R Factor 2's feedback is usually pretty good, but you don't always feel... It kind of feels like it's more... I don't know, like the old canned effect, I suppose. I don't know, it's just a different feel is all I can say. I don't feel it floaty. I think they do feel connected to the road, but in their own way, and I think it's natural and it works. Wow. Opinions just appeared, everybody. I'm not going to get involved in that. I don't watch enough of Game of Muscle stuff, to be honest, to have an opinion on that, but... Ooh, I think this has had a sound change as well. It sounds quite throaty. Ooh, very nice. Right. So let's see what the RSR is like around Imola. Listen to it. Oh, okay. Already sounds fantastic. Let's see what it's like through the corners. Feels a bit more weighty. So when I last drove the RSR, the steering was quite light, and that's usually for good reason, because the rear is where the engine is, so all the weight is there rather than over the front axle like you would normally get. So you'd normally expect the front to be a little bit lighter, and therefore the steering to be a little bit lighter as well. But obviously bearing in mind that this one you do have very large slick tyres underneath it, so that will add to a little bit of extra weight through the steering column. So that's maybe what's being rescinded through the feelings I'm getting at the moment through the wheel. But again, force feedback wise, I'm feeling everything I need to feel through the wheel. I'm feeling the curbs, I'm feeling the bumps, I'm feeling weight transitions. Just taking some time to get up to speed here, not going mad straight away. So Skoda says, uncomfortable giggle. Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. Couldn't help myself. Imola says, Funky, just twist the knife, why don't you? Sorry, I apologise. Right, let's unleash the RSR then. Let's give it a bit more of a send and a bit more of a push. Take in that glorious flat 6 note. And the brakes nice and early. Not quite as early as the Corvette, of course, which needs the length of Africa to slow down. Thread it into the second chicane here. Sausage curve on the inside. Very effective anti-cut devices because you really do feel it when you clip one of those. Working hard up the hill. Going light at the top of the hill, of course. And down to third gear. Throw it in. Plunge downhill to Aqua Minerale. Slowed down and stopped. Difficult to thread it through there sometimes. We're through safely. Up to a really difficult chicane. It's partly because of the huge curves and just trying to thread it through there without bouncing too much. Down to the final couple of corners here. So as you would expect with a car with the engine over the rear wheels, of this particular age anyway, it's been quite well sorted in more modern cars, is you'd expect that once that weight does catch up with you when you're going sideways, that it will end up being quite difficult to bring back. But obviously with this particular race car version of the RSR, it's not too bad and you can actually control it quite nicely. A bit of a stutter going on there. Drive through it. It does drive nicely, Funky. I agree with you on this one. I know you're an RSR specialist. Red Fox Roaming, thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate that. Good to have you on board. Thank you for being part of Sim Racing Bible. Glad that you're enjoying what you're seeing. Wow, that was a bit of a cut. Oops, I was a bit mad into that. Feels a bit of an amateur, to be honest, though. Yeah, I totally threw myself in under that title. The RSR is your territory, I wouldn't want to encroach on it anyway. I'd rather beat you in a Corvette. M1 Pro car is awesome, yes. It certainly is. I'm sure there's plenty more pace I could unlock with driving this car a little bit more. So Todd's asking, did the RSR get a sound update? I think it probably has. I think it's not quite the same as I remember it sounding, so I think it has had an update. So Skoda says this was always one of my faves in this game. Yeah, it's a very popular car, this one. It sounds a little bit more raspy now. Yeah, let's try to groove a little bit more now. It does sound good, absolutely right. Taking a little bit more concentration threading this thing around here. It's very enjoyable. Very enjoyable. It shows we're 2.3 seconds up on our best lap, which is always nice to see on your Delta. Just split time. Let's see if we can finish this lap off in a nice manner. Not too bad. Right, up and over the line, let's see what kind of lap time we put down here. And across the line we go to record a 1:59.5. Not quite sure how that stacks up, but I enjoyed that man. Right, let's take a look at the stablemate of the RSR, and that is of course the Corvette C3R. Seen a couple of these around at Alton Park today for the American festival that was there. Very, very nice indeed. Let's see how this goes. Because this car, last time we drove it, was like a boat on wheels, but a fun boat on wheels. You have to put on the brakes really early. You're constantly battling the rear end. Obviously, it's huge power, old tires, and yeah, it's always been a bit of a challenge to drive. So, looking forward to seeing what it's like with the new update. Oh, is my data? Oh, my lap time's hidden underneath my my camera, is it? No, that was not a lie about my lap time. yes, Skoda, perfect response. The bots which have found their way into our chat. Apologies for that, everybody. Just ignore that. Right, Corvette C3. If the RSR's had a sound update, let's see if the Corvette has too. That's a lot of popping and banging when you put the throttle down. Marty, you've already super chatted $2 this evening. Thank you so much. You're amazing. So thanks for the entertainment. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. It's just as enjoyable for me as it seems to be for you. So big thank you to you for donating. That's very kind of you. Right, Corvette time. So 1:59 was the time in the RSR. Can we get anywhere near that, or potentially even beat it with the Corvette? Fungus, I believe in you. Oh, nice V8 rumble. There's the lack of turn-in that we've all come to know and love. Into the hairpin. Right, here we go. Let's get some heat in those tyres in any way possible. Whether it be through locking the brakes or by spinning the rear wheels, whatever it may be. Just give me some heat. I need it. Okay, well, that was not too bad through that. There's a big old bang on the backfire there. It actually feels a little bit more pointy with the steering, so you actually you wiggle the steering wheel and there seems to be something happening. Whereas before it was a little bit more vague, but now it feels like you are connected a little bit better to the road. Lovely community here. I'm glad we have a nice community of guys. You guys make it the community of what it is. So props to you guys. Get on the brakes, Phil. Get on the brakes. It's a Corvette, it's not an RSR. Get it stopped. Phew, we did. Okay, good. As you were. Anyway, the backfire is hilarious this time. Yeah, you're a Corvette fan, aren't you? Don't know whether it quite pops and bangs as much as it does in here, but anyway, makes for some nice listening. Turn in. And then use all our power up the hill. And so corners, what corners? Yeah, exactly. Just float over them, it's fine. Big grab as we press the top of the hill there. Quick short shift to third just to try and keep the rear end a little bit more in check. So Frank says, I did towing GM's comments on the stream earlier today. I have 4 toes now. Oh, toxic, is it? Oh, that's no good. Phew. I honestly thought we were running onto the gravel trap then, but we didn't. It's feeling a lot more like a race car, as I say. It does feel an awful lot more like we are made to be here rather than just encroaching on the RSR's territory. So across the line, it's a 1:58.1, thank you for your records. So we are quicker than the RSR in the big Corvette, which kind of rings true to what happened the other night. I mean, I think most of that is down to the fact that we have some very big straights and uphill sections where the power of the Corvette just takes over. I think it's less to do with the fact that this car is a superior race car to the RSR. It probably vastly isn't, but I think it's just the power just makes up for that lap time around Imola anyway. I'm sure if we took it anywhere else without having big long straights, the RSR will be all over the Corvette. But as far as drivability is concerned, it is more drivable. It is. You still got to get on the brakes early. You still got to coax the thing around the track. You can't just expect to floor the throttle and get away with it. You still have to drive it and respect it as an old GT car as it is. However, it at least turns in. It at least is more controllable and doesn't burn through the rear tyres quite as quickly. So yeah, it's improved and it's good. It's still fun to drive. So yeah, good stuff. Right, just catch up on it. So Skoda said this is not one of my faves. So the RSR is one of your faves, and the Corvette not so much. Frankie says, I really hope we get an expansion of this class sometimes. Yes, I think we should hopefully get something. That'd be really good, wouldn't it? Really fun. The more cars in this class will get you away from the historics mod. Yeah, that mod is still good. It's still good. Yeah, it's just there's a lot of salt dished out, probably more so than the local fish and chip shop. But yeah, how it is. Right. We need to do a quick more looking at some of the daily cars. So okay, we've done some of them. We need to do the vintage touring cars and the just looked at them. I've forgotten already. What was it? We'll come back to it. I'll get the vintage touring cars on the go. So all of these have an update. So the BMW 2002 Turbo will have had an update along with the Corvette Street. Oh yeah, the street cars is the other one. And then also includes the Lotus 23 and the Mini Cooper S. So let's try the 2002 Turbo first. That's going to be an interesting one to see because that was very, very oversteer dependent beforehand. So it'd be interesting to see if that's still the case now. Let's take it to... Let's coax it in general. We're going to go to Brasilia out of the layout. just so we can get some consistency going through the corners to see what it's doing in terms of how it moves through the corners. Because, as I said before, this car is very much, or used to be, very slidey. You used to get a lot of oversteer and you just end up just sliding all over the place. And I'd be interested to see whether that's either calmed with the update or whether that's still there but just more progressive. So let's find out. Go drive it. Marty, what if I don't live in a town? Yes. Quite right. I don't live in a town. Okay. BMW 2002 Turbo. Fun little car. When this was first released, absolutely loved it. So fun to drive. Again, it's one of these low-powered cars which usually turns out to be just epic fun to race. Hardly asking the important questions. Yeah. Right. So the good thing about the Brasilia outer circuit is that a lot of the corners are very similar, so we'll very quickly form an opinion of what this car is like through that type of corner. Definitely more of an emphasis on the turbo sounds with the 2002. On power, anyway. Final corner. Right. Well, I think if you've driven this before the update and you weren't a fan of its overly oversteering tendencies, you might be pleasantly surprised now, because although the oversteer is still there, it's not as excessive, and as we mentioned earlier on, it is actually quite progressive. So you turn in, you do get the oversteer straight away, but it doesn't get worse as you go through. It actually stays quite constant, and you can just do what you need to do to bring it back in line, and whether that be apply more power or apply more steering lock, whatever it may be. But you can quickly catch the car and then correct the slide, balance it on the exit, and away you go. And it's kind of more in keeping with what you'd expect with this car. Now, vintage touring cars do move around on the road. They aren't grip machines, but they also aren't drift machines either. So it's good to see that it's loose enough to be a classic touring car, controllable enough to be able to just balancing it through the corners and just enjoying all that classic touring cars have to offer. So feels good. Martin, wow, this looks nice. Yeah, Brasilia at the sunset does look rather good. Nice glare on the road. Yeah, so we've very quickly come to the conclusion that this car is much nicer on single radius corners. See if I know we're on the outer loop, but let's see if we can use the infield section as well, just to try and get some different dynamics of cornering going on the go, and some weight transfer as you go right to left, etc. So let's see if we can do that. It'll allow us. So Focus is, I think, the low power and softly spun cars feel so alive in MS2. Yeah, I think they do. They have a lovely feel to them. That was me going in too hot to that corner. That was not the car's fault as such. That was all on the organic squidgy bit behind the wheel. back. I can't remember where the material starts. I think it's here, isn't it? So you come down. It's just lovely to drive, it really is. It's just flowing, and that's what I love in a car, is a good flow to it. Yeah, the weight transfer is definitely something that has really stood out in the physics updates just recently, is just how much you feel the car moving around. Again, that was on me. Not really knowing the interior circuit of Brasilia, but okay, good. A good improvement. Let's quickly do another one because I'm probably going to call this in a few moments, but let's just try one of these other I'll try another of the vintage touring cars. I'm curious to try the original Mini, because when we last drove this excuse me, it was a bit of a difficult thing to drive. Let's see if that's changed. Let's go to the Foster circuit at Alton and we'll try that. So catching what you guys said, Funky says, yeah, you feel that front tyre digging in and struggling for grip even on a G29. It's great. Yeah, well, that's good. I'm glad that it goes through the entire range of steering wheel setups and things, which is a sign of good force feedback, is that it can actually be universally recognizably good on whatever wheelbase you're using. Okay, Minis. So obviously we drove the Mini in the Copa Classic B class earlier on. The first thing we drove this evening, this is the touring car version, which is Cooper S on the cross-ply tyres, and it should be a very different beast to drive, or mini beast. So we're on the Foster circuit here at Alton. Again, cold tyres, so we can't judge anything just yet. Already I can feel that this is nicer than how it was before. Even for Druids, I think. Just tend to shake its head quite a bit. You can see it kind of just doing that almost across the road. That's very exaggerated, but it's again, second gear is not the gear unless you want bent valves. We haven't had any mechanical failures though this evening. I think it's more geared towards the classic Formula 1 cars at the moment, as well as maybe the GTs, I think I read. Full circle, yeah, you're right. It was ending up where we started this evening, but albeit slightly different guys. As you go over that bump, as you go down into Cascades, you just feel the steering just snap in your hands, which is very cool. The Rise giving temporary access to the new Spa variant is great. Those without DLC get a taste. Yeah, absolutely. And the same with the oval stuff. You can all drive that now as a free trial of the Racing USA Part 3 pack, which will be a part of that. So it's great. It's allowed access for people who maybe haven't committed to buying the DLC, and hopefully enticing them to go ahead and do that, because if that's their kind of thing, then they're going to love it. Okay, so front tyres are up to temperature, rears are still cold. Down to third gear. I sat in that grandstand earlier today. Great view into Lodge Corner. And up and over the line. Stood right there as well on the grid walk, looking down towards turn 1. you saw the stories on Instagram today, seen that picture. This is feeling very nice to drive, and much more mini-ish. Again, desperately trying to get into second gear when the car is not happy to do that. Yeah, that's feeling more mini-like. I mean, minis do move around, but they don't have quite as bad an understeer as they originally had. But this is, you know, more in tune with the road now, and it actually feels considerably better. So Todd says the old mini at that Busker Road kart track is a chuckle. Yeah, it probably would be actually. It's a great track, that one. Love it. Okay. So as far as on-track stuff is concerned, that's probably all I'm going to be able to do this evening for you guys, but I'm just going to do a quick run through just to give you a flavour of some of the updates which have happened in terms of physics, because I think it's worth bearing in mind that a lot of the stuff that we've been showing here is very much the main crux of it all. This is the most visible stuff that you see. You see the new cars, you see new tracks, you see new features like full course yellows, mechanical, etc. But there's an awful lot more that goes on behind the scenes as well, which we haven't even had the chance to scratch the surface of this evening. So just to go through, I mean, physics-wise, there's a whole heap of stuff. I mean, engine revisions, torque compression ratios, turbo models, fuel consumption, heating and cooling rates for a wide range of cars, pretty much most of them. Revised clutch limited slip models for the Formula vintages, which is probably why you're seeing them as driving a little better as well. But yeah, it's just it goes on and on. You know, adjusted center of gravity for the Formula trainers and the Ginetta G40s. Slightly increased drag and lift increment. There's just so many bits and pieces which you can just dive into, which just shows the level of detail that the guys at Rise are going into with the Automobilista 2 to try and extract the most out of the Madness engine, to try and bring us the best possible driving and racing experience that we can get with Automobilista 2. And all those things on there are very very key to the reasoning as to why Automobilista 2 is now feeling and driving the way it is. It's the reason that we love it so much is because of all these little changes that the guys have been making to the physics engine, and it's really paying off. And I think personally, Automobilista 2 is starting to turn heads. I mean, initially it was very much it was kind of like you love it because it's Riser, and you want to love it because it's a Riser product, and you know they make good stuff, but maybe it wasn't quite what you were expecting it to be, or you loved it anyway because you really got on with it and it was great. But a lot of people were put off initially by the title. They didn't feel like it was what they expected it to be, or it felt like a Project Cars 2 clone with mods and all that kind of stuff. But I think now things have moved on so much since the initial release. I think that people have now come back to AMS2 to give it another try because people have been talking about it more. I think they've been pleasantly surprised by just how good it's feeling now, and it's only going to be even better as it goes. And you can see from the updates here that it has really moved on even further from where it was, and it really is just like it's just a massive step forward, and they've touted it as being a game changer. It certainly is a game changer for AMS2. We didn't check out the. We're going to do that. Okay, let's jump back in. We didn't check out the dirt on the road, so let's grab something with some relative speed here. Do a GT1. Take the Merc. We're going to go to Laguna Seca. We're going to test the dirt thing. I'm not bother putting my gloves back on again for this short blast, but I'm going to see if it brings any dirt onto the road and then what happens afterwards. That's an interesting analogy, that, Skoda. Yeah. Okay. Not quite sure what to say to that. But yeah, it's looking good. It's looking great. Todd, thanks very much. I appreciate that. It says Phil streams are always informative, entertaining, and civilized. Yeah, we try and keep things civilized here on the channel. Right, let's go drag some dirt onto the track, shall we? Ignore this pit lane speed limit, doesn't matter. Right. First place to drag dirt on is when you miss the pit lane exit. So we'll just go straight across. Let's just do a couple of donuts here. Pick up as much dirt as we possibly can. Let's just stay here and then. Right, let's go have a look, see if we can see anything on the line. It kind of looks, you can just about see that. I don't know if that's coming out on the stream or not, but there is a slightly lighter browner kind of tinge to the circuit layout there. Let's try not to bring any more dirt on. I'm just going to run through that section again a couple of times just to see if we can clean that. Well, this thing's a bit of a brute. So I used to just driving this kind of as straight as possible and not being mad with it, but let's go back over it. Let's actually try. I haven't got views set on it. I was going to see if I can see it in the chase mode just to see if it's. Okay, that might need some additional testing just to see, but I think you can see a little bit of a dirty line on there as to when I've tried to drag as much dirt on as I could. But a little bit more testing might be required just to check that out in terms of grip levels and things. But that'll come with time, and we'll definitely try that. Phil says, I need a colour to shape my shovel. I actually did choose one, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Subliminally. Alright. Funky. Marty says, civilized? What, I'm not doing my job then? No, you're doing perfect. Funky, I can try and take the tone down when I can too. Just don't take all the credit, Marty. No, let's keep the tone up. Let's keep it up. We're doing good. Love you guys. Right, okay. Let's wrap things up then. So Automobilista 2 version 1.4. What is it like? Is it a game changer? Yeah, things have moved on. I'm inclined to agree with that comment because as we touched on before we kind of went and did that little dirt test there, where it's come from to where it is now, it's two very separate games, and it's very very different to drive now than it was originally back when it was released, but in a better way, in a good way. So yeah, absolutely, it's definitely a good step forward again as we get with all the riser updates of late. It's been really good, and obviously there'll be a few more tweaks coming up in the next couple of days or so as they make some changes to certain things which have cropped up some of the bugs, like I mentioned about not being able to load into Gateway with the Gen 3 Indy cars. Yes, thanks for pointing that out, Marcy. Good spot. Official events. They're bringing back a time trial of the week event, which they used to do with the original AMS, whereby they specify a car and track combo, and so this is just a generic one at the moment by the looks of things. But in here you'll have what's active at the moment, and then what's coming, and what's previously happened. So they have like time trials of whatever they set, and then you just go on and set your fastest lap, and then it's good. I mean, I know a lot of the guys, Sim Racing's Arms, have done hot lap competitions, which is just within the community. This is like an official time trial competition. There's potentially, I think there's some prizes mentioned as well, but I'm not sure what those will be yet. But that's a good area. So we've got time trial anyway, where you can compete against people. These are official events which are being introduced again. So that's good for those who enjoy a bit of time trial action. But yeah, 1.4 update, super impressive once again, and the new car physics, brilliant. New cars included, very nice, sits very well indeed. And there's just so much to explore which we just can't do in one stream, and there's just going to be things we pick up on over the next few weeks as we drive this a little bit more, and I'll share them with you when I come across them. But highlights from this evening for me, I mean, I can't stop thinking about that 620R at Fontana Road Circuit. That was just pure bliss of sim racing and worth a drive. If you haven't given it a go, go try it. Really good. Um, but yeah, I mean, impressed with the oval stuff as well. I mean, I know iRacing have got oval down pretty well, and it's kind of one of its main things is the oval racing there, obviously official series, etc. But it's done well in the MS2, and it's a discipline which is obviously all new, very specific to those people who like that kind of thing. As mentioned, I think I would like to see perhaps a stock car, like a closed wheel stock car, to run on the ovals as well as the IndyCar. But what the IndyCar does do is very good, and we've obviously got the new 2022 IndyCar coming along at some point, potentially fully licensed as well, which would be epic. And yeah, so more stuff to come in the future, and I'm looking forward to it. So go download it, go check it out, go see what you think, and let me know in the comments below as well if you're watching this after the time. Let me know your thoughts, and I'd be keen to know what you think of it. Marty, you're correct, absolutely. Discord channel, feel free to jump into that. We have a link in the description below. Go check out the Discord channel, join us in there, ask questions, submit screenshots, whatever you want to do. Share in the community that we're building here at Sim Racing Bible, which I'm hoping you are liking a lot. And it's all down to you guys and your willingness to share your thoughts and your impressions with us. So big thanks again for everyone joining us this evening. That just about wraps us up. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly had a good time driving some of these cars this evening. But we'll be back again very soon in the future with some more content coming your way, as well as some more live streams. So as always, thank you for your company this evening. Thank you for your inputs, your support. You're all amazing. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time here at Sim Racing Bible. But until then, take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.